Initial results of Egypt's three-day presidential election indicate an easy win for incumbent Abdel-Fattah al-Sisi for a second term in office. Hello, I'm Arnold Naidu and this is The Heat. Not only a win, but a landslide for Egyptian President al-Sisi, taking more than 90% of the vote in this week's presidential election. His only challenger, Moussa Mostafa Moussa, has already expressed his willingness to work with the president to achieve stability and security for the country. We begin our coverage with Yasser Hakim in Cairo. And Yasser, what can you tell us about voter turnout, especially the voice of women in this election?
Yes, the voter turnout, obviously, all the votes have not been counted yet or officially out, but we're talking in the range of around 36% of the total electoral college has went to vote. The total should be 60 million registered voters. That's 59 and a few and over 59 million, and only around 36% already have been counted. As for women, it's been quite impressive how women have filled the polls in all the country and all ages and from every segment of the society. The Egyptian president has given women a lot of attention in the last term, and he even called the 2017 as the year of the woman. Focusing on their problems and trying to solve these issues and giving them opportunities for SMEs, for having their own businesses, and also for employment. And that's why it was obvious women had a big role in the elections, unlike, for example, youth, which obviously have been at a low turnout amongst the electoral college. Anand?
Now, Yasser, this is Egypt's third election since the Arab Spring. What are the biggest challenges facing the country in terms of the economy?
Obviously, the inflation is a major challenge. The austerity measures that took place or that started in the last 3 years, which included reducing subsidies on energy and increasing taxes, and also introducing new forms of taxes, and floating the Egyptian pound. All this led to inflationary prices that were inevitable, according to the IMF and the economic reform program by the Egyptian government. This is the main challenge at this moment, is to try to reduce inflation. It's already gone down from 32% to around 16%. The government hopes by the end of 2018 it would reach around 10% inflation in the country.
Of course, yes, the other big challenge for Egypt is security. The country suffered one of its deadliest terrorist attacks, with more than 300 people killed at a mosque in North Sinai last November. How is the government responding?
Well, after that tragic event, the Egyptian president announced what he called the Sinai 2018 war. And that's a comprehensive war. He called it a comprehensive war on terrorism in Egypt. Obviously, it is more emphasized or focused on northern Sinai, where most of the terrorists have had their hideouts there and from infiltrating from different parts of the borders. And since then, there's been a huge crackdown on terrorism and militants. Obviously, there are losses on both sides, but the latest numbers show that the number of terrorist attacks and number of casualties from terrorist attacks has dropped by around 60% since then. So there is improvement in the war on terrorism in the country. The president had initially announced that this war will end probably by the first quarter of 2018, but it has been extended, and we could expect it to be over before the end of the year. The Egyptian president and the army hope that by the end of the year they would practically eradicate terrorism from the country, or militants from the country, but it also requires hand by hand with the security side, is to work on the on preaching, on moderate Islam, on trying to attack the scientific and the thought, the extremism thought or extremist thinking, and that also is required on both sides. Al-Azhar is working hard on the extremist, on countering extremist thinking at the same time as the army is working on countering militancy. So this is the main challenge on the security side. Anand?
Thanks, Yasser. That's CGTN's Yasser Hakim reporting from Cairo.